I can't believe how long these guys run. Oh my Lord. All right, guys, it's time for our coffee with everybody. Y'all ready? Come on, we've had to put this off for too darn long. Mr. Hank, if you don't mind getting out of my way, I'm gonna get some coffee cups here. There we go. I tell you what, that Cog Hill, oh boy. I love me some Cog Hill, Trixie. I love me some Cog Hill, but Jason can talk and talk and talk. Yep, I don't know how Brooke handles that guy, but hey, to each his own. Right, Trixie? Right, Christmas, to each his own? To each his own. Now, Jamie and I, on the other hand, we don't ramble on so much. We just kind of like to listen. We just like to sit out there, sip our coffee, and listen. It's the sound of silence. Do you agree, Mr. Hank? The sound of silence is golden. I mean, oh boy, look at that delicious looking coffee. That looks wonderful. We all ready to go out and have some coffee? Do a little live video. Can we do that this morning? Trixie, you're not. All right, well, let's open the door. Let's see who can help me. Whatsoever. The sound of silence. Hi to hello, everybody. Hi to hello, and happy Saturday morning. Jamie, hi to hello to you. Hi to hello to all of you all. Don't even ask about the hi to hello. If you weren't there at the moment, you won't get it. But those that were there completely know where that came from.
I like the hi to hello. That's hi like your thing now. Instead of hey folks, I think you should, because it always says hey. Instead, I think hi to hello is perfect, and I'm still gonna go with hey y'all.
So we were laughing yesterday, I think it was, at some of my flip flubs. I get tongue tied a lot. My brain works really fast. My mouth does not. Or is it the other way around? One or the other, but I say a lot of things that do not come out of my mouth right. But listen, before we start the live, I would like to talk about something very, very serious. And so I don't mean to start off on a negative necessarily.
No. I don't even know what you're doing.
I know you don't, but let me just go ahead and get this off my chest, okay? I'm going to start off by asking a question of mostly the ladies. Ladies, if this has ever happened to you, have you ever had a partner who you love dearly? You love him with everything you got, but sometimes it appears as though he shows more of his affection towards his dogs, like an animal, a dog. Are you raising your hand to that or not? Because people need to know if it exists between us as well. All right, so yeah, so I don't know why us men do that kind of stuff, but there are times that we sometimes will spend more attention and time with our dogs, and we don't mean to neglect the true loves of our life. We just really love them dogs, y'all. We just really love them dogs. And I think that women and men have argued about that since the days when dogs were domesticated, okay? Back in who knows how long ago that was, right? Well, if we can bounce off that same premise, because I believe most people saying yes. I'm reading over here, and there's a whole lot of yeses. So I know I'm not alone in realizing that women can sometimes get upset with how much time we spend with our dogs. Now, I'm going to ask that same question. Have you ever had a partner who seems like they spend a lot of time with their buds, with their best friends? Man, they get with their buddies and they can just laugh it up and have the best time ever. And you don't get that same attention. You ever felt that way? Like from a partner who's like spends so much time with his friends, his like guy friends, man, the bros.
I've never really had that.
Well, you consider yourself lucky.
I know there's a lot of people that
because
do.
I'm reading over here with an occasional no, not really. There's a whole lot of yeses.
Yeah.
A whole lot of yeses. All right, and that's where this is what I'm about to lead into. And I feel so bad about something. I feel horrible about something. Let me play you a short video snippet that I recorded this morning. screen recorded, and then we're going to talk about it. Let me play the video. Everybody just sit back, and I need you to have an open mind. Ladies and gentlemen, are you able to come here this morning with an open mind and trying to see things not through your love goggles, but through a true unfiltered vision? Here it goes. It starts off this morning with this photograph. I'm going to pause. Oh, let me back up 1 second. I am watching one of my bestest friends, maybe my best friend, Jason Smith.
I'm your best friend.
No. I mean, outside of our marriage.
Oh.
But a guy that I just admire and love. And I'm watching him this morning. I'm sitting here mowing my grass. I have my earbuds in, and I'm watching Cog Hill. The grass looks horrible, but I'm watching Cog Hill. And what I noticed first thing was, oh, he's wearing my hat. I can't
believe you're not reciprocating, by the way.
Yeah, I need to.
Normally that happens. The bromance is so strong that he's like, oh, I gotta go put on my Cog Hill shirt. I gotta go put on my Cog Hill hat.
Once I finish this, when I'm done talking, I'm gonna go grab my Cog Hill hat. But listen to this. I noticed that Jason is wearing his I'm a Survivor Sanctuary cap. I love Jason, and I love him even more when he wears that hat right there. And so I'm like, the mower's going crazy. I finally just hit the idle, and I turn off the blade, and I'm looking close to make sure it really is mine. And so I
thought he wrecked the lawnmower.
No, I simply add a comment. Here goes my comment.
I had no idea.
Just watch. I put, dang, I love the cap. Okay, fine. I was in a hurry. I love Cap. He knows what I'm talking about. He knows what I'm talking about. I see him wearing my hat. I put a comment, dang, I love that cap. Now watch this. I go on. I say, make my day. Make my day, my brother. Make my day. And how could someone make my day even better? By this. Tip it. Tip it. You all know what we do. Us Southern boys will tip our caps. Now, you ladies up north may not get it, but us Southern guys, we'll tip a cap. We can sometimes tip it my way. Some cowboys do stupid stuff like that. I don't get that one at all,
That was a
Jamie.
fly. I was not tipping my cap.
Okay, but us Southern boys will tip our caps. So I'm like, in succession, I see Jason. I'm like, nice cap. Make my day. Tip it. Okay, fine. No big deal. There should be no big deal with this, right? Who cares? No big deal. Watch the video. Watch it carefully. Watch it closely. And try to notice what I noticed.
The first
he reads the comment.
First thing that I saw was a coffee jelly that was actually jarred.
Pause. Everybody, hold on a minute. No, Jamie, do not even do that, because I'm going to play this in slow motion. I'm about to play it again in slow motion. How sad is it that Jason cannot even have me as a friend?
Oh my God. Do you not? No. You don't get to do that to Brooke.
Brooke, I'm like a dog now. I'm like Jason's dog. I am nothing more than Jason's dog. When it comes to, I love Brooke. I love her with all that I can love a woman who's not my own. I love that woman. Tell you what, and she's a lot more entertaining than what Jason is. I wouldn't probably even watch it if it weren't for Brooke. But what I'm saying is, she saw him tip his cap at me, and look at the devil come out in her.
Oh my God, that's not true.
Watch it in slow-mo.
Jelly.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, the first.
Can you read my comment?
First thing that I saw was a coffee jelly.
Smiles at me.
That was actually jarred.
There you go. There you go.
You're so rotten right now.
Who's the rotten one here, Jamie? If there's something rotten in Denmark, who's rotten? Look closer, Jamie.
You are so awful.
Look a little bit closer. Look at the happiness and joy. Look at the happiness and joy. The same joy a man gets when he's grabbing a sweet Maggie, or he's grabbing a sweet Christmas dog, or he's grabbing whatever dog he likes to love and kiss on all the time.
You're the dog in this case.
I've been the dog. I'm the dog all the time. Well, all I simply said was, hey, tip that cat, man. Make my day. And when he did it, all hell break loose.
Jelly.
And then listen, he has to pretend. He has to pretend that he's scratching his head. Oh, mosquito bite. Oh, got me an itchy. And Brooke is like, and then he has to make a very serious and stern face. Like, no, I'm not tipping my head. No, there ain't nothing about it. And what's sad to me is it went from joy. Where's the joy? Where's the joy, Jamie? Look at the joy right there. If I can go back to the old Bible hymns, he had the joy, 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 joy down in his heart. Where? Down in his heart. Where? Down in his heart. Jason had the joy, 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 joy down in his heart.
I'm sorry, Brooke.
I would like to say down in his heart to stay. But no. It was only joy
that was actually jarred.
Until right there. That was the moment. That was the moment when Jason realized that Brooke saw him paying a little homage to his bud over here in Texas. That was the moment.
Jelly.
Yeah.
And I thought,
back to all seriousness. Jamie, I'm going to remove this now.
You don't think that she thought it was interesting, because Jason's not typically a guy who tips his hat in the middle of something, that she just was like, she didn't catch the comment. So she thought, like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, she didn't realize that. Because I would think if you did something weird in the middle of things and I didn't catch a comment, I would be like,
hold on. I am not stirring the pot.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. You need to carry that pot and that spoon around with you, because that's all you do. And he loves it. He loves it.
You know,
you're probably starting to fight now over there at Cog Hill. They're trying to get stuff done today, talking about how bad they need a break. And you're over there, like, literally like, let me just turn it up.
All the way to Alabama. I'm just going to keep churning. Texas ain't enough for me. Morrow Hill ain't enough for me. I'm going to go extend way out towards the Alabama way.
I'm sorry, Brooke.
I am so sorry too, Jason. But, and you ain't going to say nothing about it, because that's just me tipping my hat to a bud, okay?
Carrie, tip your hat.
Jason and Brooke know that we're messing with them. And that's the beauty of our relationship, our friendship, is that we can joke and jab back and forth at each other, and we have a whole lot of fun doing it. And Jason and we've had some dance battles where he always wins. You know what? Here's the crazy thing. I've always known from the get-go I was never going to beat him. You just know in life.
It was fun.
Absolutely. It was fun, but it was also very painful. If I wasn't already walking around with enough limps as it is, trying to do, it was like the summer of love for me and Jason. If I can recall back, it was last summer, maybe the one before.
It was two.
It was 2 summers ago, the summer of love. We just started here at all the projects at Longhorn Lester's. I'm building fence every day, but I found myself taking so many breaks, putting my phone up against the fence I was working on, turning on some music and just doing some kind of a dance move. And then Jason would reciprocate. He would give me right back. Whatever I gave him, he would give it right back to me. That's the way a good friendship should be, Jamie. You give and you take. It was a summer of bromance. Thank you. Thank you. And guess what? Now, because of a little jealousy issue, I'm just saying, a little jealousy issue.
Confess, the first thing that I saw was a coffee jelly.
I'm sorry, Jason.
It was actually
I'm
jarred.
so sorry. I'm going to go get my Cog Hill cap. You take over for a minute or so, will you?
I am so sorry, Brooke. I didn't know any of this was happening. I saw the lawnmower stop and him take his phone down. I thought that he was like texting the kids about something, or, you know, things are going on. I had no idea that he was stirring the pot to this caliber. I can't control everything, and I take no responsibility for what's happening whenever I can't literally squeeze his leg or his arm. And please don't. I'm so sorry. Don't. Only Lester would find a way into a whole day for someone. It was probably like, yeah. Anyway, between yesterday's prank stuff on his live and this today, Lester Morrow is the ultimate stirrer. He just, like, the little spoon is so fitting because it's a big old pot with a little spoon in it. There you go. The bromance lives on.
Hey, I'll tell you what happened yesterday, though. Now, this is taking it way too far. Now, if anyone did not watch the 3 p.m. Central Time live video from yesterday, I pulled what I thought was a really funny phone prank on a whole lot of my family members who live right there in Plum Grove. And even though the comments were just amazing, we had so much fun last night sitting in the tub reading these comments. People are just hilarious. And it didn't matter which channel you went to. I think I did that on all of the channels. No matter which one you went to, the comments were just crazy funny. But it was the emails that came. It was the WhatsApp messages that popped up a few minutes later that made me realize that what is funny for one person is not funny for another one. And so I think that I would not say a lot, but there were many people upset with the fact that we were accusing the pretend hit and run guy as an illegal immigrant. And so what people don't understand, I saw a few comments and I saw hundreds of people quick to remind folks that the Plum Grove property is in fact in a predominantly, it's a neighborhood that is run by a cartel.
This is factual.
Yeah, I'm not making it up. There's no reason for me to make it up and make a joke out of it at this part. And we also know that the police will seldom drive down into the neighborhood because the cartel runs their own law. Believe it or not, as many things that you've heard negative about the cartels and all that they do with the human trafficking and the narcotics and you name it.
It's the largest developed and largest populous, fastest growing in the U.S. compound, colony area of undocumented and illegal.
There are buses that arrive daily with drop-offs. Now, guys, no, we don't get out of our car and go ask to see we don't care, y'all. I'm not.
They're people.
You're not going to get me going on that. That's not the point. The point of the matter is we made a joke about a hit and run. It was a prank. It was a phone prank to my family. I'm looking for backup to go into the neighborhood with me to show some force, blah, blah, blah. And I tell you what, it triggered people. A joke, a fun video triggered so many people. And in my opinion, people who do not want to admit or believe that we have a major issue, especially in our part of Texas. And I believe this extends along the entire southern border. But and it was just like the most
it was never
horrible,
about that.
It was not a racial thing.
But
it was funny.
It literally was. That was a real potential real scenario that could have happened. Not so much the whole like Lester would follow anybody, which is hilarious in itself. But the scenario that he described about being rear-ended and that person not having insurance is something that happens every day there. Not to us, but it does happen every day. We see it, we hear about it, all the things. So that is why everyone reacted the way they did. Although I don't know why Buddy wanted to sword fight.
No, I don't know that
one came out of way left field, and I still don't know if he was serious or if he knew you so well And he was like, this is a prank. I'm going to go with it and I'm going to play into it. I still don't know that because
I don't
Buddy
know.
is stoic in
So
his.
the thing is, I made those phone calls so close together that no one had time to
Mhm.
communicate. Even though you might say, well, they all live on the hill. There ain't no one putting out some kind of a group message. Hey, let's just going to call you and say this.
No.
There ain't no prompting all of that. It was so darn funny to me. And like I said, I don't apologize for speaking the facts. And the fact of the matter is, we do have a very large population of immigrants who live in the Plum Grove area, 70 plus thousand.
Oh, sir.
And
It's
that's
over 170.
hold
now.
on, but that's only the ones who actually
Yeah.
took the census.
Yeah.
Okay. We know that most people do not take the census, and for various reasons. So it was not where I was going. But I'll tell you what, the phone prank part was hilarious. People, not everybody, a lot of people got the humor in it. There were some that missed the entire point and just wanted that they were triggered by the fact that I would dare accuse someone of being an illegal immigrant. And I feel bad that you don't realize that that is a real issue. But you know what? I was watching the news or reading an article, if I forgot which one it was, but it says that most Americans only truly get 40% of today's news. So think about that for a minute. No matter who you are, no matter where you live, if you're an American living north, south, east, or west, if you watch news on social media, you watch news on a major network, you're only getting 40% of whatever news made the day that day. So think about that for a minute. If you're only getting 40%, you may say, well, but wait, my news tells me everything. No, your news tells you everything that they want you to see or hear, because the news over on the other side will show you only what they want you to see and what they want you to hear. And it's not unless you watch multiple sources. And when I say sources, I mean, we all know that the media is controlled by one group or the other. So unless you watch all of the sources, you have no idea what's going on with the other 60%. And that goes for everybody, which is kind of, it's sad when you think that you watch the news and to get the news, and all you're getting is what the news they want you to get, not the true everyday news. But hey, it is what it is. Sad that no one gets all the facts. We're all walking around with just little partial pieces of the truth. And I tell you what, it is what it is. But no, I did not come here to apologize. I did come to explain or re-explain myself to any of those folks who were very offended, the reality that we live in. And so the reality to everybody's different. If you live in New York City or Chicago or an inner city of Detroit or anywhere else, your reality is very different than us who live here in the country. There's things that you know for a fact that we have no idea about. We're just so ignorant. We don't know. No, Jamie might. Jamie's traveled to places.
But I only know, like, I wouldn't know about things in real life because I'm not there. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, like real time. But I have traveled to places, and like, even I talk a lot about New York City, and Lester's perception of New York City is I never want to go. And my perception of New York City is you need to go, because what is so dynamically different than everything you've heard once you're there, it's crazy different from that perspective.
Yeah.
And that, I think that's a little bit of what you're trying to portray, of like, there's people that look at our life and this and go, I would never. There's people I work with that are like appalled that this is the other side of my life. And from everything from dirt, from bugs, to being so far from a restaurant, and we're 26 minutes?
Yeah.
They can't even fathom that we have no Uber Eats, and we have no grocery delivery, that we have to go crazy to get internet, like call and do all these extra things to be able to get internet, that I don't have cell phone service. Like, that lifestyle to them is like foreign and basically third world. And so but they wouldn't understand that if they came out here, that, until they came out here, that it isn't like you're trudging through mud every day or anything like that. Like, in their heads, they're so fearful of the unknown and what they've heard or seen or whatever, that they wouldn't be, they wouldn't understand it until they got out to enjoy those peaceful moments, I guess.
You know what I think is sad, but also kind of comical in a weird twist, but it goes what you're saying. People don't get it until they experience it. So Jamie and I, when we do watch the news right now, we're watching a lot about this horrible heat wave that has struck, I guess, the Northeast.
Mm-hmm.
This horrible dome of heat that has struck the Northeast. And the news reporter starts off every broadcast. We start our broadcast with important news happening right now in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where temperatures top 90 degrees, which is a record. And I'm thinking, Jamie, did he just say that they've declared a national emergency because the temperature topped 90 degrees? And the heat index is in triple figures.
But I think
that feel like temperature is 101.
But they think the same about us. Whenever we're like, oh my God, it's going to get 31 degrees tonight. They're like,
yeah,
yeah. But they do.
True. But the thing is, we live daily with 90 plus degrees.
90 is actually a great day.
90 is a wonderful day. If it gets to 90, we're like, I'll work outside today.
90 is a great day to spend the whole day outside.
But I get it. If you're not familiar, if your body's not conditioned to 90 plus degree temperatures, and you feel like temperatures are 101 or 100 and whatever, spend a little bit of time out in Phoenix. Spend some time in Texas and Mississippi, in maybe Alabama, Oklahoma. Come down south and realize that a 100-degree day is very common during the summer, very common. And the feel-like temperatures are the ones that go way, way up there. So to see all of the highlights, and not the highlights, it's like horrible, horrible news of the heat and all the people exhausted, and there's people walking around their houses with their water bottle like that. I'm like, Jamie, if we did all of that mess, if we walked around living like that. Now listen, I'm not making fun of nobody.
Hold on, but on the flip side, it gets below 50 here, and we're in winter coats, and we're all like, yeah, we're in hoodies, and I'm out here. And now, even worse, I'm like, I can't stand the cold. I can't stand the cold. I can't stand the cold. So, like, it's just what you're conditioned to.
Yeah.
But it is funny to watch the news and to see that. And, like, these people, really was a guy who was like, he's like, we got AC, but it's just not enough. He's like, so I just take these water bottles out of the freezer and I just rub it all over my body the whole day. Like, I just think to myself, like, who let that guy on the news? Like,
well, no, I think the people up north that watch it like saying, oh my God, I know it's horrible. They console each other with how hot it is. And well, we should go to the shelter and try to find some relief from this heat. Someone needs to do something. And I'm thinking, Jamie, it says the temperature is an all-time high of 91 in Pittsburgh. All-time high temp of 91.
I totally get it,
Pittsburgh.
though, because not everybody's used to it. Not everybody's used to the humidity that has come with it, and it doesn't light up. So, like, it moved from us. We had that for 2 weeks, and don't get me wrong, it's still hot here. It'll be hot here until the end of September. But in places that you're not used to that, and the systems aren't built for all those ACs running, maybe their ACs haven't been able to keep up. Like, I totally get it.
So I feel especially bad for people who don't have ACs, or for the homeless, those who don't have a home. So yeah, you absolutely feel for them, because they're the ones who probably have not taken or don't have the resources to try to go inside and stay cool. But it showed like workers or like people crossing the street, the subway couldn't run above ground because it was too hot. I'm like, the subway can't run above ground because it's too hot? Anyway, I'm not trying to make light of you folks who are having a hard time with the heat. I'm not. And I'm not stirring the pot either, y'all. I'm not stirring more the pot. But I am reading comments over here from people in California, in different parts of the country, that are well above triple digits already. And it's just what we deal with in the summer. So
that's how they feel about us in the winter. I'm sure of it. They see
that.
Oh,
I know.
We're like, it's gonna get down to 31 tonight.
I gotta do one thing real fast.
And the whole world is like laughing at it. We are the laughing stock when we're freaking about a week of below freezing. There's a grasshopper. Oh, there are grasshoppers everywhere. I would trade y'all weather in a heartbeat right now and I would trade y'all bugs and all of the insects and all of the craziness that's going on here. I made a video last night that I haven't posted yet, just walking around and showing the weirdness of bugs and pests this summer and all the things that have happened due to this really strange weather pattern. And I'm sure that the people who are dealing with all the cicadas in the, I think it's Midwest is where oh my God, there's another one in the Midwest right now, have to feel very similar. It's cicadas, right? I just think like we're in a very strange time for all of the fires and the craziness in New Mexico. I know that California has fires every year, but they're way worse and way uncontained. And everything that's going on with the oceans being hot, there is a change amongst us, is what I'll say. And we're living it, and it's crazy to experience because we've been here 2 years and I have never seen so many things that eat so many things here. I've never seen some of the strangest bugs. We had the horrific flooding that we've never, like that unprecedented records were broken this year, and then got close to other records that were associated with the hurricane, and there was no hurricane. It's just a very crazy time.
Yeah.
You okay?
I am. Yeah, I had to get rid of somebody on here, but it's all taken care of. And I didn't even make a big deal about it.
I'm so proud of you.
You proud of me?
But anyway, yeah, we have a lot going on this weekend. Tomorrow is actually a super big day. And do you want to talk about what you have summoned everyone for, or is that a secret?
Well, here's the problem. If you talk too much about it, no one will actually watch the video. We already know that. But I will say that right now, I just cannot hide my joy in the fact that we're having our hay rolled over at the Plum Grove property. And I'll also say that Mr. Ed has told me that he's never cut that much grass off of our pastures. So he will start rolling that either this afternoon, if it can turn in time. If not, he'll do it tomorrow. There's a process in that, guys. It's hard to explain.
Paul told him already anyway.
Gosh, well, not everyone watches Dad, so. But bottom line is Mr. Ed is making some amazing predictions. And if his predictions are true, and you still got to keep your fingers crossed, y'all. Still cross your fingers that everything works out. Okay, what if Mr. Ed could have a tire blowout? We could have issues. That hay's already been cut. It's on the ground. It has to get rolled. And you only have a couple of days to do it, maybe 2. And so you could have a sudden burst, a downpour that comes out of nowhere that wets that grass. And so you never really want to count your chickens until those eggs hatch, as they say. But according to Mr. Ed, he's never seen so much grass off of our pastures. So once again, it reminds us, as scary, as destructive as that river was that came across that pasture, look what a blessing it left us in the fact that it soaked that soil so much that it gave it enough nutrients in that nasty water to get that soil to just produce the most beautiful, luscious green grass ever. The most that you and I have ever got off that pasture was 63 rolls. And we do believe that we're going to be quite a bit more than that this year. So we're super blessed for that. And if that does happen, then that will allow us to be able to not only use hay for what we need, but also give the extra hay to my dad, to Jake, to Sister Kim. Brienne can't because Brienne has horses. Her goats will need hay, but horses will have to eat a different kind of hay. But you're able to take that blessing and pay it forward. And so that is the biggest gift in all of this, to know that hopefully we can even get 2 cuts. If we're lucky, we will get a second cut later in the summer, closer to September, maybe even October. And it's just an abundance. So we know that we have more needs now than we've had in the past. So what we used to need in our 40 rolls, I would say we probably will need closer to 60 now, because we have more heads to feed. But if we can get as much as what Mr. Ed thinks we're going to, and he's almost never wrong, then and then we get a second cut later, we're going to be able to supply mom and dad, Jake. I mean, the whole Morrow Hill will have enough hay and not have to go buy it. But you do know the one thing about my dad, though.
He has loyal ties in small businesses, and until those businesses are no longer, he will support them. So even if he does have hay from us, he'll probably still go through his hay guy.
Yeah, no, my dad will actually refuse hay because he doesn't want to upset his hay guy.
I think that there's a lot to be said about that, though.
My dad's hay guy is a former student from my dad. From when my dad taught school, he had a fella in his class. This has been years and years ago. That kid has finally grown up, got married, has a family, and he has his own hay business. He does hay. And so my dad has a loyalty to support him and his small business. And so even if we have an abundance of hay or we offer hay, my dad goes, no, I'm going to get mine from Johnny. I'm like, Dad, there's hay in the barn. Just go get it. No, I don't want to upset Johnny. And I'm like, why would you be afraid to upset Johnny? Because he's afraid if he upsets Johnny, next year, if we don't have that abundance, Johnny's going to say, yeah, you wouldn't buy from me last year. I'm going to go ahead and find a new buyer, sell it somewhere else. So
I understand that loyalty. I mean, there's a lot to be said about that. He went with a feed store that literally he was with them until the day that they closed their doors. So yeah. I think that there's a lot to be said. Yeah,
it's true. It's true. Anywho's, the mini donkeys are doing great. We don't like all the questions right now, but if you just have to ask, the mini donkeys are all fine. We are both working on trying to get them to gentle down a bit, and that's going to take a lot of time, a lot of snacks, trust. You have to build that trust. But I will say something that I've already put into a video, that if you're expecting those donkeys to be cut and neutered anytime soon, that's not going to happen, because it's too hot.
I didn't know if you talked about that yet.
You wouldn't? Yeah, go ahead and talk about it. I did talk about it, but you're more than welcome to.
No. So because they are, we'll just say feral, wild, they aren't handleable very easily. We're working on all those things. And because of their age, even though we don't know their exact age, we know that they are fully intact and experienced, and now neutering them or cutting them, gelding them would be called something called proud cut.
Yeah.
Meaning they've already experienced, this is really tactful. I'm trying to be really tactful. They've already experienced the act of, and after you cut them, meaning you remove their testicles, then they still will have desires to perform the act. Yes, sir.
I wasn't going that angle.
Oh, well, I'm going to
I was
talk
going
about
the
why.
fact that it's too hot, and the doctor said it would be very dangerous infection.
That's
related.
what I'm getting to. That's what I'm getting to. So you can't handle them to treat their wounds. You can't handle them to inspect their wounds. And because they are proud cut, they would still be having those desires to be able to perform those acts. And during that whole jump up on each other, all of those things, they can rip open their wounds, and the infection and the risk of all of those things are so great that it outweighs the benefit of doing so now. So when it's cooler and we've had them a little bit more and there's less flies and that season is a little bit past, will be the safer time.
So Shara says, will that desire ever go away? Oh my. Shara, now I don't know exactly how it works with neutering, but I kind of picture like when a man has a procedure done, even though he can no longer produce babies, he still has a desire. He still wants to try to do the do. It's just not going to produce anything.
Their hormones will reduce, so it'll never go away fully, but their crazy instincts and hormones that come from having those parts will go away. So they won't be as brutal.
Shooting blanks, says Lisa.
Yes.
Thanks, Lisa.
But the other thing is, it also takes 4 to 6 months post procedure for it to no longer produce, which is crazy. Did that make you feel really awkward for me to go down all those paths?
No, I just don't want you to have any ideas when it comes to me. I'm fine, okay? I'm good.
I don't care.
All right. Well, we are calling the donkeys after the ABCs. We have
Andy
Brandon.
and Seward.
Seward, that's his name, y'all. You can stop suggesting names. Thank you for the 5,000 people that sent name suggestions. I did not know there were so many C words out there. But boy, we've got a lot of really neat names. Here we go. There is a very large, angry mob forming who wants to call that donkey Chance. That is the name that has to be Chance. He needs to be named Chance. Well, I get the significance behind it, friends, but I don't know why. There's something funny to me about saying C-word. 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 And so ultimately, I haven't.
Number one, I actually like it because I don't know of another donkey named C-word in all of the internet farms.
Nope.
And I think that there's something to be said about that. Like, we don't know of another ostrich named Carl. We don't, so the uniqueness for us is kind of funny, and it's kind of growing on us, and it's growing on him.
I get it. Chance is cute. For you guys who love Chance, it's a cute name, and it is very fitting. But I'm sorry, I don't know why, but C-word has just kind of, now I don't know how we're going to spell it. I have no idea how you want to spell C-word, but it's not C-world, but it's C-word. So however we can spell C-word, it has to start with the letter C. That's all I know.
Yeah.
So maybe C-E-E gives us a long C, and then is it W-O-R-D, C-word, or C-word, W-A-R-D, C-word?
I don't know.
I don't know. But does it matter?
You only got to spell it at the vet's office.
Yeah.
That's it.
C-word, y'all. And then I'll say one more thing, touching on what Jamie finished up a minute ago, and something that we have not shown you all yet. We've made our videos, but they're too hard to look at, really. And even though we tell you, and this is true, we will share the good, the bad, and the ugly. Sometimes there are people who cannot handle the ugly. So many times we'll share the ugly with the supporters because they know, they understand the farm life. But the only way that Jamie can medicate some of the donkeys is for me to lasso them. And the downfall to that is whenever you lasso them, sometimes the rope around them, and then they're not going to walk to you. They're not coming to you. That ends up pulling even more on their already wound. And so I don't know of a better way. We're trying to find a way to get them to go inside the loafing shed and then kind of close them in. The pasture that they're in, we don't really have a system to corner them. And they are still feral donkeys. When they get threatened, they will kick, they will bite, including us. They kick at us.
So listen, when we're treating these wounds, it's painful. They're not like just, I mean, they're pretty significant wounds, and no one's ever done that to them before. So anything in a horse or a donkey, or really any animal, that even our dogs, if you're only handling and your handling is about pain every time you touch them, they don't want to be handled. So we're trying really hard to do a mix of everything, but always knowing that our priority right now is to heal these wounds. And
yeah, so like we're kind of in a double-edged sword. We want to establish trust. We want to be able to eventually put maybe a halter on them. But this is something else we should talk about. There are 100 people, and maybe I exaggerate the number, but there's a lot of folks who are under the mindset, get a halter on them. They need a halter on them. Friends, you cannot leave a halter on a horse or a donkey when you're not using that halter. Because what happens
not when they're in with other animals.
Well, even by themselves, this is what has happened before. And when that horse or donkey sometimes will lay down and they end up putting their leg up, sometimes their leg will accidentally go through the halter. And now that horse or donkey is trapped. and trying to move itself around with one or two legs stuck under the halter. And then you don't want to put a halter so tight that it's sitting there compressing and holding against them. The rule of thumb is you don't leave halters on when you're not using the animal. So, and there, once again, if you mention anything with horses, even donkeys, who are still part of the same family, you're going to have a lot of experts say different things about it. But I have seen myself a donkey get a foot stuck. It got back out, luckily. But we have to be very careful. Right now,
they're not ready for halters yet.
They're not ready for halters yet, and we sure can't leave a halter on them.
No.
We can't put them into a smaller area than what we already have them, because they need to be able to move. They're familiar with moving around. I feel like we already have them in too small of an area. James says that they're fine for now. And
the people are like, yeah, but you treated Gary. Okay, hold on. Gary could barely move. Gary couldn't get up for days.
Gary was pooping pus. That was how bad his infections were.
And Gary's a cow, not a donkey. They're two totally different animals. And so anyway, we're doing our best.
Gary was also on death's doorstep, if that's the right word, doorstep.
Yeah, and eventually we got him in a chute as well.
And then we had a squeeze chute, a small lot. And with Gary, it was you're going to either take this or you're going to die. And we made it have to happen.
But what I'm saying is Gary couldn't run from you.
Gary couldn't run. Gary had no fight in him at all. No fight whatsoever.
These donkeys are not acting like that, but they do have some pretty significant wounds that right now, because of, again, heat, humidity, fly strike, all of those things do need to be cared for. And they probably have had many wounds. They have scars like crazy. They've had these over the years and have had to, have their little bodies figure out how to heal them. However, because they're here and because we want to help them, we want to heal them faster and hopefully not lose them. Because I have mentioned that I think that there had to be a female at some point in time. Something gave birth to some of these. I think that donkey succumbed to maybe wounds, maybe injuries. I don't know, but I don't want to see anything happen to these.
Yeah. And so last thing, and this is something really unique about donkeys, is that I think that donkeys might be one of the few animals that if it's born wild and it's never really handled, their instincts, I think, want to be interactive. They want interaction. And one of the cutest things that I've seen, that I've witnessed the last couple of days, is that when we first got the donkeys here, which was a week ago, and we would feed the donkeys on the far side of the pasture away from where we feed all the other babies. But our donkeys during feed time were torn. They knew where their feed was at over on that far fence line, but everyone else is eating over here. And those donkeys would run, get a bite, then run back over. And they would stand at the fence line watching all of the littles and the big birds, the pigs, eat. But they were hungry. So they would look and they would run back across the pasture, get a bite, and then run back to chew it. They wanted to be a part of the other gang, of everybody else. And that was a really touching thing, to know that they long to be a part. They desire to be a member of the littles or of the middles, whatever you want to call them. And so what we did was we ended up moving their feed troughs from the far fence line over there along the same fence line where everyone else eats. We had one problem with that. You want to talk about the problem? You remember the problem? When what's-her-face kept putting her head through?
Yeah, I know.
So the problem with feeding them on the exact same fence line, just on opposite sides,
it did not work.
Starla would come by, and she didn't want her food. She wanted their food.
She had the same food on the other side, but she wanted to shove her head all the way through.
Take her little head, and she'd twist her horns, and she'd put her head all the way through, and she would eat there amongst those little mini donkeys. And she'd look at them, and they were like, "Are you nuts?"
They're like.
And Starla, y'all, she can teach some bad habits, y'all. Poor Starla and her bad habits. And now that little munchkin Starbuck is doing the same darn stuff as she is. We're coming home and they're both out and they see us and they run like it's the funniest thing. Like, oh boy, mom and dad are home.
Yeah.
They get so excited. She's so darn spoiled. So luckily Starbucks will eventually grow up and his dynamic will change. He'll become more of a little man, and he'll stop wanting to always be out and about by himself. Starla's going to always be Starla, I'm afraid. So she is who she is. We love her so much. But no, we have been feeding the donkeys closer. They are starting to gel with our other babies. They're not together yet. They're not the same pasture.
No, they can't be together.
And they're not going to be for a while. But trust takes time.
I have started. So Seaward is the one who primarily lets me touch him. And that's through the fence and only at feed time. So that's that. Like, it's not like he walks up and seeks it, but he allows me to touch his head. But today, Andy. Now he jumped away and ran. It's in my video.
Yeah.
But he like came up and then I touched him and he was like total freak out of like, whoa, that's my space. But still came up. So there's a curiosity and a little bit of trust building going on. Today is debris day, so I expect that to take a step back.
Yeah, no, it will. It will take a step back. We'll have to lasso them, and I'll have to hold them against the fence, and Jamie will do all of the cleaning and all the medicating. And that is hard for people to watch. It's hard for us to do.
It's very hard.
It's because there's pus and there's blood, and all of those things are not things that you can put in videos anyway, which is crazy to me because we have a farm. We're doing a farm service that has to be done. You have so many channels that do show and video horrible things, and they're fine. And we play a video that shows a little bit of that kind of stuff, and all of a sudden
it falls outside of our normal criteria.
It falls outside of our normal criteria. Or I don't know if there's people that report it. Yeah. And so even if we have to sometimes dispute a video and we end up winning the dispute, having to go through all that trouble of having to dispute it because somebody was offended and wanted to report it as inappropriate or this or that. I mean, our channel is set up for 18 and older, but you would think that it was a lot of the audience was 5-year-olds.
Well, YouTube probably would be more tolerant of it, but Facebook
YouTube is more tolerant, but Facebook absolutely not.
Yeah.
But Facebook is our largest platform. Facebook is our majority of our audience, so we have to always try to, at least best we can, work with Facebook.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys, it is that time for us to answer any questions if you have that we have not already talked about. I'll try. Now, listen, we have quite a few folks watching.
Karen says, why not use the trailer like you did the first time? So the trailer was set up at the loading chute the first time, and the trailer is at JL Ranch, and there's no loading chute here to be able to run the donkeys into the trailer.
Thank you, Michelle, for reminding people. Another reason why it's hard to geld older animals, older males, is because their veins are larger and there is more bleeding. Yes. The most scary animal that we ever, hold on, I bet we can, don't look away. Okay, what was the most scary animal we ever neutered? Donkey Dan, because we honestly thought that he was going to bleed out. Yeah, now the vet said it's okay. She had but it was to me, it was a very scary and horrible thing to watch. Even though he was sedated, he was knocked out. Everything was done. The vet was there with a couple of vet techs watching Donkey Dan get neutered. I thought to myself, he's never going to wake up. He's going to bleed out right here. And luckily he was fine.
He had a really rough recovery though too, because he's an older donkey. So they have it's a very rough procedure. It's not like neutering a young goat or even a man with a vasectomy where they go in and clip that. They literally remove.
Yeah.
And
Chip is going to be fine. A video that I think both channels have already had a chance to see is that Chip was not feeling good one day this week, but we think that he's going to be fine now. It was never a tummy issue. We made sure of that. Jamie feels like he must have got kicked.
I think he got kicked or stepped on or something like that. And I don't know why or how. He never limped. He never did anything like that, but he definitely took a couple days to not move.
Yeah.
And that freaked us out. But he never had scours. He never had a fever. I took his stool in to be sampled. There was nothing systemically wrong. So it had to be structural. The skeleton in the pond next door at the JL was very large. That was not a mini donkey.
That was not a mini donkey.
That was
like,
a large animal. That was cow or horse.
Yeah. I'm trying to pull up questions. And they're going so fast. I'm just trying to grab them as I can.
So the female donkeys are still at Longhorn Lesters, but they are in separate pastures. The mini donkeys cannot escape this pasture.
Now, Jamie and I have actually argued about the big donkeys here. You want to talk about that a little bit, about how we sometimes...
Not really.
No?
Not really.
So I don't really see a whole lot of direct questions. A lot of people sharing advice on things. We don't know about the reaction to the prank. Did I miss it?
No, I said, did your family ever find out about you were joking? Yes, Lester sent.
I sent a text to everybody and told them that they'd just been punked. And I told them they can go to see the live and see how dumb they sounded. Will you rehome those mini donkeys? Guys, we don't know. What we're going to have to do is figure out the dynamic and how it affects the overall. And I've said this a few times before, but anytime you bring an animal in, be it a rescue dog or a cat or a farm animal, you have to gauge the animal's behavior and ask yourself, is it a good fit or a good mix for the whole? The only animal that has not been a good fit, but we still have not moved along, is Rita. And I don't know why. It's just because I love her so much, and she loves me. I know you do.
I love her, and I know that she's young, and that her problems aren't. They're just the nature. It's like having a puppy. Seriously, it's like having a puppy, except for it weighs 1,000 pounds, and is really tall and can do a lot of things. But
yeah. Well, we love Rita so much. She is hard. She makes life very difficult for everybody. But I also think that she's young, and I think that with time she will. And we've already noticed that she's getting better. But she also loves hard. Rita has fallen in love with certain parts of her routine, certain parts of her day, certain habits that she does with Jamie or with me. And even though she sometimes will get the devil in her, the same way we all do, she's a really good horse, and we love her. And so we will not be moving her along.
Rita has come a long way, and it's in ways that I think I even take for granted at times. The other day when the chiropractor was here, Rita went first, and then I tied her to the truck, the normal place that I tie her for while I'm doing everybody else's baths. Rita stood for hours that day and was patient. She never got fidgety or impatient or anything. She stood, she watched very intently, and Bucky's wouldn't do that. And I don't even think Storm would do it. Voodoo would, because he's fine. He's good with standing wherever. But there's a lot to be said about some of the things that are happening with Rita. She knows the routine. She is just like the kid that has to be first in line in kindergarten. She has to be first in line for all of the things.
Absolutely.
But
and we accommodate that. We find it's not that hard to accommodate. So the same way that you allow that kid to be first in line, you don't want to have a daily fight on your hands with that screaming child. So you know what? Be first. Who cares? Instead, you teach the other kids that, you know what, you'll still get your water. Who cares if that, So Rita's kind of like, well, we're not going to fight her every day. For the person that keeps saying Rita was going to kill somebody, guys, we have a lot of animals that could kill you. Okay. We have a lot of animals here, as does every farm. There are animals that are dangerous. There are animals that could absolutely hurt you, maybe accidentally, maybe on purpose. But Rita could hurt. She has hurt. But so has Tex, and so can Carl.
I was going to say, so has Carl. So has
donkeys.
Ringo.
So has Ringo. I walk with a limp because of Ringo.
Donkey Dan almost bit my finger off and kicked me so hard that I was bruised for a month straight.
Yes. So
I have Ruby.
Dogs can fight and sometimes bite you, or bite neighbors, or bite the mailman, or bite the UPS driver. So those kind of arguments don't have a place here. We are smart enough to know if an animal is the type of threat that it can't be here, and we will handle that.
Yeah.
But we will handle that.
I would be the first to advocate for an animal that wasn't living their best life here, or that was not allowing the rest of the animals to live their best life, and have in the past. And
well,
Rita,
we've moved some of our
That's what I'm saying,
dogs
like,
along
we've
because of
moved
food
things.
aggressions or because of
an imbalance and
Yeah.
things like that. And so we always know what's within our capability. And Rita's a we love Rita.
Don't say anything. Give me 1 second. You might be mad at what I'm about to do.
I don't know what you're about to do.
Just give me 1 second.
I have no idea what he's about to do. What are you doing? Stupid caterpillars.
When I see stuff like this in Jamie's beautiful, beautiful garden or her flower bed, this is sometimes the reason I think that maybe we should have some of those things walking around. If we had a few chickens who we could let out of their container and roam or graze or whatever they call it, forage.
Man, I want them to clean up the garden right now because I don't want to.
I mean, when I see stuff, this is not from a chicken. This is from bugs.
We have horrible bugs right now.
And this
Horrible.
is just one example from the closest plant that I could grab.
You
I
want to
don't
know what's crazy about the plant that you just grabbed? I'm going to talk about it. This is from the trumpet plant that I showed yesterday, and everyone assured me was the most toxic thing on our whole property, and it was going to kill everything. Well, it ain't killing caterpillars. Okay?
There's one right there eating away, I believe, Jamie, or it's a new cocoon of one.
That's a baby one. Yeah, that's great.
So that right there is one reason why I think that sometimes having a few hens might be okay. They're not noisy. They're not loud, but they would have to be like in a coop where they were safe at night, or else they would not survive here at all. I think our dogs and cats would be okay with them, but it's the other animals, the raccoons, the possums, the skunks, the fox, who would absolutely have a field day. And that might be inviting more issues, not to mention chicken snakes. Whew. So I don't know. I don't know.
I say yes.
So someone says ducks will not destroy a garden. They'll only eat the bugs, whereas chickens will actually eat your garden. Is that true?
Yeah, chickens will eat your garden, but you can, like, I would build a run for them, similar to what the other people on Morrow Hill have, to where they would have a place to go and they would have a place to sleep that was all their safe space. And I would only let them out whenever I wanted things handled. Now, they wouldn't eat like the flowers and things like that because they would be more focused on the ground and scraping through things at first. But if you don't provide enough food for them, then yeah, they're going to eat. They're going to eat. Ducks eat a lot more grass than the chickens do, though.
Oh, ducks are also nasty. Nasty. Well, chickens are nasty too, but ducks are even more nasty. Ducks are the nastiest animals. I don't think that ducks are too loud.
Jason would argue ducks will eat a garden. Okay.
Oh, well, I didn't know that. But ducks are just nasty. Geese and ducks are just, even though they're beautiful when they're on the pond, when they come off the pond is when they show you how nasty they can be. They will dirty every water trough. And while they're cleaning themselves, they're just destroying the water.
Yeah.
So we're not going to do that. Let me go ahead and remove that comment.
I think, I want chickens really, really, really bad. In fact, I said it this morning while we were sitting outside for a little bit before Lester's mowing fiasco. I'm like, I just want a few chickens. I don't want like a big old flock of, I just want just a few because again, like right now the garden is pretty much done and it's time to start some seedlings for fall and slowly ease into that. But I would have loved to have offered the rest of the garden to the chickens to clean it up for me because they will do that. So
Melissa says, my chickens are killing my rose beds that I just redid yesterday, waiting on my run to get done. And my garden is in the greenhouse. So that's what I'd be afraid of too. All the work you put in. We have a hard time with Stella. Believe it or not, Stella, our beautiful Stella, who can't hear a darn thing. Her best friend is Mabel, and Mabel likes to live outdoors now. So every morning when Stella comes outside, she has to find Mabel. So the first place that she starts is puts her nose to the ground and she will walk right
She
through
weaves through the flower bed.
the flower beds looking for Mabel.
Yeah.
Then she goes to the garden looking for Mabel, and she will walk around this entire yard, but looking for Mabel. And it's the cutest thing. But it also, I'm like, dang, she's just knocking over plants left and right, and all the hard work that Jamie puts into her gardens. And I'm like, oh, poor Jamie.
Yeah, I think that we'll probably get a few. It's so hot right now. It's not really a great time unless I got just full grown hens already. It would not be a good time to try to raise chickens, flies, and everything else. The other thing about having them with a flower bed, they can only eat so much. They don't just eat and eat and eat and eat. So if you feed them first, then they will go out and forage for what they like, which is bugs and worms. Those are the things, around that too. So
yes,
maybe.
Stella is a mini wrecking ball. The worst thing about Stella and her wrecking ballness is the fact that she comes to the couch at night while I'm trying to sleep. And I have to extend my legs. I like to have my legs extended so I can sleep comfy. But Stella demands to have a piece of that couch. And so she will literally take her nose and push my legs off to the side to hunker herself down in there. I'll put my legs up on top of her, but then I feel like they're so heavy. So yeah, she is quite the wrecking ball. So, well, listen, it's well past our hour. We want to thank you all for watching this morning, for enjoying our cup of coffee with us. And Jamie, if you'll wrap this thing up, we do have things that we're working on today, and we got to get some stuff done before it gets too much.
Yeah, we're trying to beat the heat for sure, and I hope that y'all do as well. Sorry that we joked a little bit about how hot you might be up north. We'll try to refrain from complaining when it's too cold here next winter.
And then anyone that just got on, if y'all can do me a favor and say a prayer for my friend Jason. Just if you'll say a prayer for my friend Jason, and we might should do an intervention.
Poor Brooke. That's all I'm going to say is poor Brooke.
Confess. The
Here it goes.
first thing that I saw was a coffee jelly that was actually jarred.
Poor Jason. Buddy, I love you. Brooke, I love you too. Listen, we don't run off to the happy hours. We ain't off playing darts. We ain't having guys' night outs. We ain't doing none of the poker stuff. We chit-chat on the phone back and forth. That's all we're doing is we're chit-chatting, texting or calling. It's innocent. I don't know why you can't trust us. Why can't she trust us? Do we look like we're untrustworthy?
I have no words right
Yeah.
now.
And
Bye, y'all. Have a great day.
Thank y'all for watching. We love you.